What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to this video where I'll be talking about 10 things needed, or 10 things that I would like to see added into Dynasty Warriors 10. If you couldn't tell, I kind of like Dynasty Warriors. It's kind of fun. So with the last base game coming out around 5 years ago, and then the last game for Dynasty Warriors in itself about a little over a year ago, I think it's a good time to talk about improvements for the next Dynasty Warriors game, unless they end up releasing some version of Dynasty Warriors 9 Extreme Legends.
Stop making it PlayStation exclusive.
But anyway, I'm going to assume the next Dynasty Warriors game is going to be Dynasty Warriors 10. I'm not really sure what they would do with the Dynasty Warriors 9 Extreme Legends, or how that would even look from like an open world perspective, or would they just strip the open world and make it straight stages. Either way, if they do end up making Extreme Legends before they go to the next base game, I really hope they make it for Xbox as well.
Please? You're killing me.
This franchise is the only franchise where I will buy every single game, no matter what they sell. They could sell a pile of and I would still buy it. After the disappointment of the last game, I came up with 10 things that I think would improve the next Dynasty Warriors game. That being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Starting off with the most obvious one, I think, in my opinion, it's the unique weapons. Now, I'm not saying that you need to make every unique weapon. You need to have the hand cannon or the little spear rocket that Jahoba was flying all over with. I'm not necessarily saying they have to do that, but I think if they brought in different variations of fighting styles, so if 2 people or 3 characters have a pike or a similar looking weapon, that they have different move sets that's unique to them. I know it's a lot of characters now, and perhaps, either they're getting lazy or it's a lot of work. I don't know what it is, but every time they jump from one generation to the next, it's always a struggle to keep weapons from being cloned. And again, I don't care about it being cloned. If they make a unique moveset for each of the characters, regardless of what they have, I think that would just be really cool. I think every character has their own personality and fighting style. Even if they similarly resemble one another, there should be some differences in how they actually fight. And then just a little subcategory with weapons as well. Like the weapon progression, I think that would really help weapons. I'm not a big fan of the whole crafting thing, because I maxed everything in Dynasty Warriors 9 and got all the gold and whatever it may be, so I can just craft everything that I need, so I don't have to really work for any of the legendary or gold items. I think if they brought back the old Dynasty Warriors 4 tradition, where when you played with that item, when you got a certain amount of kills with the weapon, whatever it may be, it would progress to a certain level and eventually max out. And then I think at some point when the weapon is maxed out, and maybe if character gets to a certain level, like level 50 or 100, whatever the cap is, it unlocks another Easter egg quest for the final stage of the weapon. I thought that was really cool. I believe in Dynasty Warriors 3 they had the 4th weapon Easter egg. You had to do specific objectives on certain maps in order to get that 4th weapon. It wasn't any different from the 3rd weapon, except it was much stronger, it had unique properties, and it was a fun grind to go through. I think a similar progression in combination with the Easter egg quest objectives thing they used to do in Dynasty Warriors 3 would be a really nice touch for them. Or if they really want to, I also wouldn't mind them doing the RNG thing from Dynasty Warriors 5. But I still think implementing some sort of Easter egg or some sort of grinding aspect for, really hardcore fans that wouldn't mind grinding it as that last final stage, but still having the weapon progression for casual players who aren't going to go past that. Alright, next up we have Destiny mode. They should really bring Destiny mode back. With an open world perspective, this was the perfect opportunity for them to make a Destiny mode. I think a lot of people within the Dynasty Warriors fan base love the creative aspect when it comes to the Empires expansion, or even with the bodyguards from Dynasty Warriors, I think 4, when you can create your own character, and then you can create your own bodyguards and their names and stuff like that was really cool to do, because it made it more personal to the person playing. Now, I personally haven't finished Destiny mode at the time of this recording, but if they made something similar to what I've played so far in Dynasty Warriors 5 Extreme Legends, but just expand on it, they can make it so good. Create a character, you start as a foot soldier, you start somewhere, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be in one of the kingdoms. It could be before the Yellow Turban. Maybe you are a Yellow Turban and you get persuaded to join one of the other factions, and your story, like one of those games where when you choose stuff, it affects your character down the road. That would be so cool. I know that's like almost a completely different game in itself, but people that love the Dynasty Warriors franchise, people that love the Three Kingdoms period, the era, whatever it may be, I don't think would mind a game like that, a very hard role-playing game where you are in your own created character, and what you decide and what happens to your character throughout your career or your journey affects your character. Little side tangent, I know it's very difficult to make video games, the coding behind it, the animation, the graphics, all that stuff. There's a lot that goes into making a really great game. Voice acting as well, which we'll talk about in a little bit. If the developers of the game are as passionate about it as their fan base, I don't see why they wouldn't want to make a game like that. So 100% Destiny mode needs to come back, and I think it would make a great experience for hardcore fans and casual fans and new fans alike, even if it is a separate game. I think there's a lot of potential with another Destiny mode. They just really need to have the passion to do it. Alright, next up we have AI. So AI in the latest games is pretty brain dead. Even on the hardest levels, it's not very difficult. The peons aren't as good as they used to be. The officers are very laughable because of the execution system. But they really need to go back to making the AI difficult and not tedious. When I play on the hardest levels on Dynasty Warriors 9 or Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires, I am sitting there for 20 minutes just trying to kill one person, and it's just tedious. It's just boring. You're just juggling and comboing, breaking guard, you're waiting for their shield to go down, then you execute, and it just takes forever because if they have 5 or 6 bars of health, that's going to take some time. Versus in the older games when they had 1 or 2 bars, they were just very difficult to kill. It took some skill to actually get past them along with the bodyguards that were around them. I think if they go back to less troops and more difficult AI, I think it would make a more challenging and fun and rewarding experience for especially the hardcore fan base, but then also for casual people who are looking to take the game a little bit more seriously. And some of my footage for Dynasty Warriors 9, some of my old videos, I'm going against officers that are like 20 levels above me, and I can do that with no problem because I have the special attack which breaks their guard. I have my Musou attacks which is going to destroy them anyway, or I can block until I get a trigger for breaking their guard and taking down their shield until the point where I can do damage, and I just do it again, repeat that over and over again until I obviously kill them. But not much else to say about that. AI needs to just be difficult, not tedious. That's all I have to say about that. Alright, next up we have the biggest elephant in the room, voice acting. Jesus. Okay, alright, so I'm not gonna say voice acting was complete dog doo-doo in Dynasty Warriors 9. It definitely was the worst out of all of the Dynasty Warriors games.
Our oath? Ah, don't make me laugh.
My lord, Liu Chan, it is your turn now.
But I'm not going to sit here and knock, especially if it's true that, at least from what I heard, that the voice actors only got like 1 or 2 takes to do each of, and that's a lot of dialogue. They had a lot of dialogue. So if that is true, I have to give them a little bit of courtesy because that's ridiculous. I am pursuing a similar field to these voice actors, and I know that you're not going to get it right on the first 1 or 2 takes. So that is true. I'm going to give them leeway. But that then falls back on the developers. Why are they rushing? First of all, why are they hiring different voice actors when we fell in love with the voice actors from Dynasty Warriors 6, 7, and 8, and they went and changed it for whatever reason? If that was the case, they should have just left it like they did with Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires. Just don't make it English dub. It was just, it did a disservice to the game. It made the game slow down a lot. It was just like really slow paced, really like none of the characters have chemistry with each other. It's just very clunky, very weird to watch. It's just everything you don't want when you're telling a story. But yeah, not much else to say about voice acting. They just should bring back the old ones, and that'll be a great fix for them. Alright, next up, the combo, the fighting system, bring it back from the older games. The basic light attacks to up to a certain number, you press square 3 or 4 times, and you can press triangle for a different sort of heavy attack or charge attack, and that was the best system. In that system, everyone in a way had their own unique style, and you could actually strategize on how you're going to fight. In Dynasty Warriors 9, it's just button mashing. I just think that with the old hack and slash combo system, it rewarded players who enjoyed using certain combos. You had your first charge that knocked them up, your 2 that stunned, your 3 was usually an AoE of some sort, 4 was another knockup, but you could follow it up usually with a, you can jump up with them and knock them back down, or, some sort of big explosion, whatever it may be. Your 5 was unique to the character, everybody had their different 5 attack, and then you go all the way to the 6th hit, and it just kind of loops around. So I think the old combo system would make it a lot more fun. I think a lot of people fell in love with certain characters because of what they were able to accomplish with the combo system. I mean, if you want to keep the trigger attack, find a way to combine them with the old combo system. You know, maybe they're like they have a cooldown mechanism or something like that. But I just think that with the old combo system, it made it more fun because there's like with the new combo system, there's no fear. I have no fear fighting Lu Bu. I'll take a new character and go fight Lu Bu, no problem. You know, I could probably easily beat him because I don't have to do much. I just have to block, wait for my Q, wait for the triangle, wait for the Y, boom, hit him, take the shield down, eventually he dies, and that's it. I mean, there's no challenge for it. And like I already mentioned, the old combo system would just fix a lot of that. It's not too difficult to where like a new player wouldn't be able to understand what's going on, but it's not so basic where a hardcore fan is like, I'm just button mashing for 30 minutes straight. I got a thumb sprain I gotta work on now. Another cool thing they should bring back into like the new Dynasty Warriors is the dueling system, and they should make it like the way they make Wolong or like Ghost of Tsushima. That kind of fighting style would be sick. Like, it doesn't have to be the whole game, but enemy officer approaches them, they want to duel, they get the little fences around them, whatever it may be, and you have a similar fighting sequence similar to those of the RPG games that are really cool to watch. Assassin's Creed, you know, like I've already mentioned, Tsushima and Wolong, they have really good fighting mechanics, and I think that would be really cool. I mean, a nice change of pace from Dynasty Warriors, but to see them go head to head and to see their actual skill in a way come out, because if you watch any of the moments videos I've done for my channel, I love intricate fighting, and if they can implement that into Dynasty Warriors for the actual gameplay, that would be sick. You have your parries, your counters, finding where to get past his guard, and it's just a really fun time. I think that would be really cool if they implemented that back into the Dynasty Warriors games, because the duels were always really fun. It's just, they were very stagnant, but they have these new elements now, which they tried to implement into the actual thing with the triangle or the Y counter, but they should go more into that. Add that dueling aspect, have that intricate fighting sequences, really see the characters, move sets, and styles come out. That'd be sick. I would be totally down for that. Alright, next up, I've already kind of mentioned it in the first one, I believe. Bring back Easter egg cutscenes. With Dynasty Warriors 7 and 8 and 9, they were so predictable, and as long as you played the story, you were fine. I think Dynasty Warriors 8 had a couple in-game cutscenes that had to be triggered a certain way, but they need to bring those back. They need to bring those back from the older games, because those were always fun to find, or just stumble upon. You're like playing as Cao Ren, you're walking past Zhu Kuang, and they have a little interaction on the battlefield. That's cool. Hong Da's walking past them, and it's Fawn Castle, and they're all talking. Like, it's really cool to see that interaction from different characters. It gives moments for characters that don't usually have moments, and I think if they did that with the newer game, people would have a lot more fun and would want to grind finding those triggers. I know I would love to find those Easter egg cutscenes where it's like, oh, that's a cool moment with like Lu Meng and Lu Su. That was a cool little moment. I mean, Dynasty Warriors 9 was such in great detail with the story that it really didn't miss much of anything. They had the events, I call them events, the little RPG events where they're kind of like standing there and they're like, you have the dialogue coming back and forth, and you'd fall asleep listening to that, right? It's nothing like, oh, I didn't expect this to happen. You know, they have that old sound that comes through, the black screen hits, and you're like, what is happening? You're like, what is going on? I miss that. I miss having that feeling of like, you don't know what's going to happen when you get on this battlefield. Oh, what happens if I approach this character? What's going to happen there? Oh, Xiahou Dun and Guan Yu definitely have a rivalry. What happens if I approach them? You know, that like climactic moment before two characters fight. It's nice, and I hope they bring it back. That's all I have to say about it. Bring back the Easter egg cutscenes. That's it. That's all I have for that. Alright, next one. I mean, I can make a whole separate video about this next one. I kind of already did. I made this video right here, but build up certain characters, man. We have a lot of empty characters in this game. Either make them NPCs until they're ready to be developed, or develop them. I don't know if the argument for it is like, oh, they weren't in, like, they're not real characters, so they shouldn't have as much content, or whatever it may be. But they're in the game. They're part of it, part of the lore. They're in the game for some reason. So if they are not real characters or not real people from history, they already have the leeway to make whatever they want. They can make whatever hypothetical situation they want for the character and give them content within the context of whatever period it is. So like characters like Bao Sanyang or Guan Suo are more prevalent in the later era of Shu. So you can have side missions, side quests, developing their true story. You know, like I talked about in that video. I mean, what about the moment when they met? There's a whole like background of Bao Sanyang not accepting a suitor or husband until someone beat her in combat, and that didn't happen until the fictional Guan Suo showed up. So it's like they have this leeway to create these tangents for characters, and if they're not ready, then I think they should just be NPCs. And then once they're ready to develop the characters into something more, then they go that route. Sai Wenji's a good example of that as well. I mean, she has a very dark past, and I don't think they should bring that into the game, but at least something, you know, maybe some side quest with Genji and, you know, Shin Ying, and, you know, try to build that relationship a little bit more instead of having these couple of reactions or couple of interactions with these characters that come out of nowhere where it's like, oh, they were friends? I had no idea. So they have these characters that are just very empty. They kind of just fill a slot on the roster. They just give the user another character to play, but they have no depth. Would love to see the development of some of these other characters because it would make the game more whole. Like Juran, he was an NPC for so long, he became a playable character. He's empty, man. He's an empty character too. He has a great relationship with Lu Xun. Play with that more. Develop that. Side quests. See those interactions, just like talking about with the Easter eggs. Bring those back. That will give you opportunities to make these characters more fulfilling, more filled up, and, you know, actually give them a chance for people to actually like them. There's a lot of empty characters, and I just think they need to spend more time really building this. They can build whatever hypothetical side quest that's in the realm of the Three Kingdoms. I don't understand why they can't do that. They can do it. They just have to have the passion behind to actually want to do that and deliver a game of that standard. But yeah, that's all I have for that. Alright, piggybacking off of the last one, hypothetical versus real mode. So anything Three Kingdoms, I play, I watch, I try to get anything I can out of it, right? I played Total War, obviously I played Dynasty Warriors, you know, Guan Yu was in Smite, so I played Smite, right? So anything related to Dynasty Warriors, I love everything that this game represents to me as a person. They can have a hypothetical or a real mode, right? In Total War, they have that option. Like, it's like romance or like realistic. Romance, obviously the generals are more powerful than your normal standard soldier, and then you have the realistic mode where they are like every other officer in a way, or every other, like, you know, guard or whatever it may be. They can do something similar with this game. So they had a hypothetical mode, so this is Wei's storyline, just like in Dynasty Warriors 4. This is Wei's storyline, how they win, you know, or Shu's storyline, or Wu's storyline, or how Jin, you know, rises up and becomes it earlier or later, whatever it may be, or even after the fall of Chengdu. What happens then? There's a way to make it work, and then the players can decide to play one or the other or both. In Dynasty Warriors 8, I played all the stages because it was just interesting to see what would happen next. So they have this leeway to really make the game fulfilling and fun and full of content. I don't know why they decide not to do that. So if they had a nice option for hypothetical or real mode, I think that would be really cool for players to really get a sense. Dynasty Warriors 9 did a great job with the story. I mean, it is shelled out. You get the story. If you want to know what happens to the Three Kingdoms period, it's pretty close in this game. But it would also be cool to see what would happen if Sun Ce didn't die, Sun Jian didn't die, right? We've already had those moments in Dynasty Warriors 5, Dynasty Warriors 6 has it. Have the option at least for the players to see it, you know, make another story from it. Does Sun Ce just ride off into the sunset this time, or does he stay and try to become a better tactician and understand his kingdom more, or whatever it may be? They have these opportunities to really make a good game, a really fulfilling full game that could bring in more new people for their fan base, but they keep dropping the ball. I just don't think they're really giving what they used to give in the older games. They started getting away from that in this game. Dynasty Warriors 9 just felt like a very empty game, and they could have really filled it up. But yeah, I think a hypothetical and a real mode would be really cool for the game, give players an opportunity to kind of just have fun with it and go through it. Alright, so for the last like 3 items, I'm just going to put them all together. So there's 3 things I want to talk about. Like you already saw, we have outfits, armor and weapon quests, and then open world if they decide to keep it. I don't really care which way they go. If they keep the open world, fill it up. Fallout 4 has been out for so long now, but people still play the game endlessly because there's so much to do. Settlements to build, quests to still do. It's just a very fulfilling open world game. If they do decide to stick with it, they need to take a approach something similar to that, to where there's always something to do. Build settlements, you know, maybe after the Three Kingdoms period end, you build up your own kingdom, maybe similar to Empires, but it's like Fallout, right? You got to keep your settlements alive. You got to keep everybody safe, make sure everything's going around, conquer what you can, and then move from there. You got to deal with rebellions, whatever it may be, right? That would be really cool. And then going into the outfits thing, I think it would be really cool if we could use any outfits from any of the previous Dynasty Warriors games, not release as DLCs. I think the only DLCs that should be released in terms of outfits should be like new stuff, obviously things we haven't seen before. But anyway, for the outfits, I just think that we should have a choice on using the older games. And you know, it would be cool if they had like quests for the outfits that was a homage to some of the earlier games. For like Dynasty Warriors 5, Ma Chao was like overpowered on his horse, right? So to get his Dynasty Warriors 5 thing, maybe you have to get like 1,000 kills on a horse or something, or 10,000 kills on a horse. Or from Dynasty Warriors 6, I think Lu Bu, Guan Yu, and Ma Chao again were the horse masters. So the only way to get their Dynasty Warriors 6, kill people on a horse, or get a horse to a certain level. level, then you get their outfits. That would be sick. It just adds another grinding aspect where we get to bring in a little bit of nostalgia too. I mean, I don't know. There's so many options, so many things they can go with, and I think that's one thing they can really improve on. I would love to do that. Similar with the armor and weapon stuff. We can bring weapons from the older games, same thing. Or I'm not a personal fan of the crafting for Dynasty Warriors. I've never been a fan of it. I like to either progress the weapon like I talked about before, or the RNG thing was really cool too. You find a weapon, maybe you upgrade it somehow, some way, but crafting, getting a certain amount of scrolls or something in order to make the weapon, not a fan of it. And then the gems that you had for it was already like, you already had the best gems, so you don't have to worry about like starting over or the bare bones of like making it difficult. It was just equip the best weapon, give them the best gems, you're good to go. You can breeze through all the stages with a level 1 character. So, but if they brought back some sort of quest, some sort of earning the armor and the weapons, that would be really fun. Similar with the outfits thing, if they bring back quests or certain pieces you need to get the last segment of a spear, right, like the end piece or whatever it may be, you have to do a quest for it. I think you start out with basic weapons that progress to a certain level and then get extra pieces that you can put onto your weapons and customize them. That'd be really cool, right? A custom is almost like customizing your armor or your weapon, similar to like how Call of Duty has like your, the attachments and everything like that. That'd be really cool. That'd be freaking sick, actually, now that I think about it even more. But make it quest. Make it difficult. Give us 6-7 years worth of content, so that way by the time the next Dynasty Warriors game comes out, we are still fulfilled by the current Dynasty Warriors game. The only reason I actually played Dynasty Warriors 9 so much was for my channel. If I didn't have my channel, I wouldn't have played Dynasty Warriors 9 that much. I would have played my characters, maybe a few side characters. I would have been done with it. I would not have grinded it the way I did with the earlier games, or had fun with it the way I did with the earlier games. And I just think there's a lot to do with the next Dynasty Warriors, and I really just hope they put the passion that they used to have into the game. It's my favorite video game franchise, my favorite series. I'm sure a lot of people have a very strong connection to the series as well, to their characters that they love, all that stuff, and it's just doing those people a disservice by not giving us the best product. I would gladly pay $100, $150 for everything I just mentioned. A hypothetical, real mode, destiny mode, quest after quest, grinding, the old outfit, the old music, whatever it may be, everything. I would gladly pay that much in order to play a game that fulfilling from the Dynasty Warriors franchise. But yeah, I mean, that's all I have. I think I only went over like 9 things. The last 3, I just put them all in one thing, because they were like smaller things that I put down in my notes. They weren't like big things I wanted to talk about. But yeah, that's all I have for the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think about it. Dynasty Warriors, again, it's one of my favorite games of all time. It's my favorite franchise. I'm always gonna buy the games. I'm always interested to see what they do. It's hard for me to just step away from it. It means a lot to me as a person and everything like that. So yeah, that's all I have for the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. What would you guys do if you guys had some control, or what you guys think is missing from Dynasty Warriors in general? Love to hear you guys talk about it. I love talking with you guys about it. And yeah, that's all I have, guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone.